Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the latest vlog update. It has been quite a while since I have done one of these, and it is not because I haven't wanted to. There just hasn't been a lot of shifts and changes in life, which is kind of what I reserve these for. It's always nice to get to know you guys. I do lots of sessions on a daily basis and connect with many of the people from this community in person via Zoom, but I don't always share a lot about my story. And I think that it's important to be seen, to be authentic, to be real, to be known, and even a bit vulnerable. That we talk a lot about trauma healing and how it is a relational wound. And vulnerability is one of the hardest things for anyone who has experienced complex trauma or trauma in general. And as we talk about, just the world today is traumatizing enough in and of itself. And so I think it's important to practice what is preached. And part of that comes through just sharing my humanity and what I'm experiencing. So that's what we're doing here today. No intro, no promos, none of that stuff. It's just kind of where am I at? So I have to look back. When was the last time I did a vlog update? I know it's been many months. And certainly there have been plenty of shifts and changes energetically, internally, from my own personal life perspective. I will preface this with saying I am fighting just a little bit of a cold. I have some pressure in my lymph nodes. So if anything seems off, that's just my purging and releasing of the old and bringing in the new tends to come with just a minor head cold. No big deal. So yeah, I mean, things have been pretty steady and consistent over the last many months. Sometimes that can be boring for the impetuous Aries sun that I have. And it wasn't terrible. I was just kind of, nose to the grindstone. But it has been challenging energetically, challenging not just from, the external environment's energy, but also just the day-to-day grind. The being a single mom and going through a divorce and starting a business in a recession, it's no joke. And it takes a lot of effort to maintain the current state and to keep a high vibration, to make sure that the eyes are on the divine. We're in full faith and trust. We're taking divinely guided action, but not too much action. Making sure to remain balanced and to be in rest and flow and ease, but also building and creating. And it's a delicate balance to do all of these things. And it certainly has been challenging, even more so in the last couple months than it was say the first year. I think there's certainly a high that comes with being a new business owner or seeing the growth and the expansion happening. And then there's, always peaks and valleys, right? So, from my perspective, I think the most challenging thing is just trying to make sure everything gets done, right? To be a mom, to have 3 kids, to make sure that they have sports and homework done and lunches packed and laundry and a clean house on top of going all in for my clients and making sure that everyone is achieving their goals and continuing to progress to the next level in their life, as well as meeting my own needs and making sure that I take care of me and that there's enough space to just allow flow and connection. It's challenging, right? And so the reason I'm bringing all of this up is just because there came a breaking point over the last month or so where I said it almost more energetically than I did out loud, but something had to change. Something had to change. And I really didn't say it out loud, but energetically, physically, my body and mind and soul all said, enough is enough. This is no longer sustainable. Something's got to shift and change. And what was interesting is what I was calling in arrived in a very different package. It was not exactly how I thought it would play out. As with anything, we are manifestors, we are creators, we are creating all the time, but at the same time, we are co-creating with the divine, and what comes through is what's always best for us. And it's not, this is good for you, so you better just tolerate something that is painful or not enjoyable, right? It comes through in the best possible way, so long as we have the right perspective. It is enjoyable. It is better. It is, you can look back and see that that was the very best thing that could possibly have happened to me. So I guess as an example would be, when I first started the business, June of 2021, my intention was just sharing, the spiritual wisdom and knowledge that I had. Then from there, it progressed into helping people step into their purpose. And lo and behold, in the process of helping people step into their purpose, what I discovered was the body keeps the score, and our blocks are energetic blocks in the body. And what we use to heal trauma also heals these blocks. And so my business took a very different path than I ever could have anticipated. And yet, of course, it was the very best thing that ever could have happened to me. And so what's manifesting now doesn't look like what I thought it would look like, but it is amazing. And the beautiful thing is that while I was doing this healing work, working with the body, somatic healing therapies, energy healing, trauma spotting, I can see that the world is a walking trauma response right now, that the conditioning and programming of the world has caused our brains and our bodies to shift and change in a way, or behave in a way that is typically seen in a adverse childhood experience, or a traumatizing childhood, or even just traditional trauma. So I feel so deeply called to this work that when I hit that breaking point of something's got to change, it was never, letting go of the business was never an option. It was just a matter of figuring out, how do I pull these levers? How do I shift and change the pieces of my life to work so that the business can still grow and develop? And this is something that I feel so deeply called to that I could never walk away. I think a piece of me would die inside if I were not working on this every day. And so that's why I'm glad to still be here with you. In fact, to be here with you maybe even more this week than I have been in recent weeks, and growing more and more in my presence, or coming back into the hopefully more regular cadence. We'll see what that looks like. These shifts and changes will help me do that. But at the same time, what I didn't realize was that my commitment to understanding the body and the brain and trauma healing work, and really working with source to pull these blocks up and out of our body, to heal our bodies, to calm the self-sabotaging parts of our brain so that we can really get fully online and drive with our intelligent brain instead. While understanding all that, while growing in my capacity for understanding that, while growing in my strengths, my gifts to be able to help people, some of the most beautiful and profound feedback and compliments, really. It's almost, I've never been one to brag, but of course you have to let people know what you're capable of doing. But it truly is an honor, and it's humbling to be the conduit that Source chose to be able to deliver this healing. And so what was happening in the background as I was developing this was my relationships were healing. I didn't quite realize that as I'm able to spot a trauma response, or I'm able to calm a trigger, or I'm able to really see the root of what is causing someone to behave in a certain way, I have this gift, so this God-given gift that I cannot take credit for, to be able to see, what do they really need? What's needed, not just verbally or physically, but energetically, right? What type of healing needs to be called in, and what needs to be delivered or pulled out and extracted or given energetically to a person. And so as I do that for my clients, that's amazing. Yes, but I've also been doing that very subtly and subconsciously, certainly not with intention, but never crossing anyone's free will boundary. But I was healing my relationships as well. And so in the background, unknowingly, to my surprise, my ex and I have been able to spend a bit more time together, and entertain the idea of spending more time, or maybe even living together again. And that's pretty shocking, surprising. I never would have thought that he could heal. I never would have thought that we could be in the vicinity of each other and not struggle the way we always did. Certainly, it has not been perfect. There has been those moments of having to work through things, having to build a new foundation, but there are big differences. And I'm not as easily triggered by him anymore. I don't demonize him. I don't see him as the problem anymore. I can see where if I am triggered, that it might be my own wounding, and to be able to go in and look into that. I don't take offense when he is triggered or he behaves from his shadow, because I can see what is causing him to behave that way, and helping him see what are your needs, what's not being met right now that's causing you to come from your own shadow. And so, sorry about that. Together, we have been um, doing our own work, handling our own crap, if you will. I used to always use the term manage your own shit. And hopefully I don't get in trouble on YouTube for swearing, but this is profoundly impactful when it comes to relationships. So we are not just removing blocks to your purpose or blocks to your abundance birthright. We are also removing blocks to love, blocks to health, blocks to union. And I say that carefully because there are, the whole trend of narcissism and the trend of the twin flames, and so many people use those as excuses to keep going back to relationships that were expired. And so know that I have been extraordinarily careful about my decision to move back in with my ex. We have done this before. And it seems illogical. And I will also say that oftentimes when you are called to a certain path, it seems illogical. That very rarely is the logical path that we put together, the milestones and the checklists and the roadmaps that we design, those are logical. But the way source works tends to seem illogical or even crazy to some people in some senses. So know that I have been very careful to make a responsible decision and choice here. Of course, my kids are very, very happy to be able to reunite our family and to live with both of their parents again. This relieves a lot of energetic and time pressures for me, not to mention just being able to have the freedom to go for a run or go to the local forest preserve for the day if I need to, and I couldn't do those things before. And so from a self-care perspective, this is extraordinarily helpful for me, which means you're going to get a more energetic, vibrant version of me, even though it doesn't seem like it today. Just very much on the healing vibration today, but this is important, and I wanted to bring it to you because in the next couple of weeks, you're going to see some shifts and changes in the environment. Maybe a little bit of, we'll see. I might show up more. I might show up a little less in the process of moving. I will do my best to remain as consistent or more frequent as possible, because the newfound energy that I will have, or space and time that I will have through this process, is going to be dedicated towards understanding more about how do we heal trauma, growing this channel, growing this community, helping the world understand how to work with the body, how to downregulate traumas and triggers so that we can make the decisions we want to make from a place of wholeness and safety instead of from survival and lack. And so this is my life's work, my life's mission. Your purpose is my purpose. And this ultimately, in the end of the day, it does end up being about purpose. But the trauma is the thing that stands in the way. And so that's the root cause of what we have to go after. So the news is I'm moving and I am entertaining a relationship with my previous ex-husband. I'm not even sure how to refer to him anymore. But we're just going forward with whatever is. So the house will be bigger and more beautiful and brighter and more energetic, as well as the channel and what I am able to deliver to you. So that is the story. So today is August 15th. We did start the trauma spotting through source tapping certification and More Than Enough mastermind today, which is awesome and amazing. So that will continue for the next 8 weeks. And yeah, I hope to be bringing you more fun. Yes, educational, and yes, awareness based, but based in fun, right? I heard the analogy, and of course, I apologize to anyone who is offended or concerned about animal rights as I use this example, but no, it's not a suggestion about what to eat. But someone used the example, if you want kids to eat their broccoli, you put it in the cheeseburger. Right. And so that's kind of the goal going forward. Trauma healing doesn't sound like a lot of fun, but we need to eat our broccoli. And so we're gonna maybe we'll put it in cake instead, or some nice cream, to make it fun, right? That this is supposed to be fun, that we are it is possible. I don't want to say supposed to, I rarely use that word, but it is possible to enjoy our lives. And many times, for those of us who have experienced complex trauma, we have a tendency to make things harder inadvertently. I have to do it on my own. I have to do it all myself. It's all up to me, right? These are all trauma responses. And so when the opportunity is presented to soften things, to have an easier time, to be cared for, it is my job to say, yes, thank you. May I have another? Yes, I receive the support. Yes, I receive the love. Yes, I receive ease and flow. And no, it doesn't have to be difficult. And no, I'm not going to make it any harder than it needs to be. So that's where we're at. Couple weeks. Oh, I started to say today's August 15th. Technically, I will be out of here by October 1st. You may see a shift in background or environment in the next few weeks. It depends, but I'm kind of hoping so, maybe by September 15th. So we'll see. Not that that really matters to you, but just sharing the deets. So yeah, I love you guys. Stay strong, receive, open to love and support. It's available to you all around you all the time. You are not alone in this. We are all in this together. And I love you. I'll see you around.